Good day to you all. This is grade 8 tutor. I'm in the person of Humanistic, and then I'll be a facilitator for today's topic. That is understanding personality in psychology. And then with personality, we all know that personality refers to the characteristic patterns of thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that make a person unique and tend to be consistent over time and across situations. So behaviors are there are pattern that you have. I think there are something that you have that makes you unique as an individual. Classify them as what? Your personality. And then we have the major theories in personality. We have according to Sigmund Freud, he brought about the psychodynamic what theories, and then with these theories, it focus on how our unconscious mind, you get it, and then early childhood experiences and inner conflict shape our thoughts, feelings, and behavior, according to Sigmund Freud. And then with the psychodynamic theories, he brought one about the level of consciousness. You get it? And then with the level of consciousness, you have the conscious, the pre-conscious, and the unconscious. And then with the conscious talks about what you are aware of. Right now, you are listening to me. You are conscious of what you are doing. You are conscious of what you are listening to and what you are doing. That's the conscious. The consciousness talks of what you are aware of right now. Are we together? And the pre-conscious is things that you are not thinking about, but you can easily remember. So in case you are not thinking about something and I just ask you what is your best friend's name? It's not something that you are thinking about, but you can easily remember when you are being asked that. Are we together? That is the pre-conscious. And then with the unconscious, the conscious is deep thoughts and memories that you are unaware of, but these things actually still affect you. Are we together? Yes. And then move on to the structure of personality. So with the structure of personality, you are having the eight. That is the pleasure principle. And then with the pleasure principle, it's like what the pleasure you want now, maybe wants pleasure right now. So for example, I'm hungry, you want food now. It is that pleasure principle, that it. Are we together? But with the ego is your reality principle. And then with the reality principle, it's like it deals with reality. So when you start to make smart word choices. So for example, you are hungry right now. That's the it principle, the pleasure principle. But with the ego or the reality principle will let you know that, okay, why don't you close or why don't you wait and buy food after class? Are we together? That's our facing reality. But with the super ego, that is the morality principle, you are being guided by your moral voice. Even though you are hungry, you don't have money. There's no, your moral voice will speak to you that, oh, even though we know that you are hungry, but you should not steal the food. Are we together? So these things have a way of also shaping our personality and other things as well. Are we together? And then we have the defense mechanism. So with the defense mechanism, these mechanisms are just there to fight out some strategies that will help you to fight out some things that you mostly are afraid of. Are you getting it? So we have some of them have the repression. So with repression, it's like you are trying to hide your painful memories. So example, instead of you to remember some event, you are trying to forget it. Are we together? And then with the projection, like you are blaming others for your own what feelings. Instead of you to say that like someone saying, maybe you are saying that someone is angry at you, but you are the one who is angry. You get it? And then denial too is like you are refusing to accept reality. And then rationalization is like instead of you to blame yourself for your own thing, you're trying to make an excuse by rationalizing it with something. So in case maybe you didn't pass your exams, instead of you to say that or maybe you didn't prepare enough, you are trying to rationalize it that okay, the lecturer is doesn't like me, or maybe the lecturer is very difficult. Are we together? Yes. And then we have the psychosexual stages of development. That is the aura, the ana, the phallic, the latency, the genital. You get it? And then fixation at each stages can affect or can influence adult what? Personality. So with the psychosexual stages of personality, Sigmund Freud believed that we go through these stages as children, and then Problems in these stages can what affect our adult what personality. So for the aura from 0 to 1 year, that is the focus on math and overeating and maybe smoking, you get it. And that's the fixation. And then you said the fixation at this stage. So if in your oral stages you don't grow from that, it can really affect you. You have the anal stage, that is from the 1 year to 3 years, yes. And then with that you focus on toilet training, you get it, yes. And then with the phallic stage, that 3 to 6 years, it focus on discovering gender and what love for the opposite sex. You see, sometimes it is through this study that when children in these stages, when their parents trying to have a romantic talk or maybe any kind of romantic moves, they try to step in and then try to destroy the moves. Are we together? Yes. And then we have the latency stage, that is the 6 to 12 years. That's the calm stage whereby instead of you focusing on you are trying to focus on school and friends, like social relationships. Are we together? And then with the 12 and above age, that is when you try to develop, when that's when your sexual feelings are awakened, and then you are trying to focus on what relationship. Are we together? Yes. And then with this, as I have talked about the oral stage, also the oral stage, that is focused, pleasure is focused on the math through activities like sucking and then what eating. Are we together? Yes. And you have the anal stage, pleasure is derived from bowel and also bladder what control. Are we together? Yes. And then you are having the phallic stage, as I said, the genitals become the focus of pleasure. You get it? And then you have the latency stage. The latency stage. So with this latency stage, you have to understand that um the sexual urges are repressed and then energy is focused on what? It's focused the energy is focused on social and then intellectual pursuits. Are we together? Yes, and then you're having the genital what? See, that is where mature or maybe mature sexual interest develop, and then individuals seek relationship with what? With others. Are we together? So we are moving to the humanistic or the major theories of personality. We are having the humanistic theories. So with the humanistic theories, you're having the self-actualization according to Maslow, and then you are having the person-centered theory according to Roger. So with the humanistic theory, Maslow believed that you see human behavior is motivated by the hierarchy of needs. So if we are being able to satisfy our basic needs, therefore we tend towards move towards or to move to higher needs, esteem or maybe self actualization. Are we together? And then Maslow believed that personal growth and fulfillment are just natural human goals once basic needs are being met. Are we together? Yes. And then the person-centered theory is focused on self-concept. Like you see, it emphasizes how people view themselves. So for a person to grow, according to the person, it said emphasize the importance of unconditional positive what regard, empathy, congruent for healthy what personality development. So for a person to grow and develop a healthy personality, they need unconditional positive regard, that is being accepted without any conditions. Are we together? And also empathy, being understood, and also congruence, the genuineness that they would get from what others, especially in relationships. They get it. So Rogers believe that people are good and also capable of growth given the right environment. That is the person-centered theory according to what Roger. And then move on to the another major theories of personality. We are having the traits theories, and then the trait theories focus on identifying and measuring stable, enduring predisposition traits that influence what behavior. So the overview of this thing help us to understand that traits theories focus on identifying and measuring what consistent personality what traits. Are we together? Yes. And then with this, you have to understand that you have some key people or key theories that came about with some models. That's Gordon Allport. So with Gordon Allport came about the cardinal. the cardinal, the central, and the secondary what trait. So with the cardinal, it's what about it dominates a person's entire personality, and then it's something that is very what rare. Are we together? Yes. And then with the central trait is like it's a general characteristic, someone who's kind, honesty. Are we together? And then you're having the secondary trait that's situational what preferences. Sometimes the trait that you exhibit depends on the situation that you find yourself into. Are we together? Good. And then you are having the Raymond Cartel. So Raymond Cartel brought about the 16 personality what factors. And then these 16 personality factors help us to identify the core source of some traits. Are we together? And then you're having the Hans a snake. I don't know e snake if my pronunciation is right, and I stand to be corrected as well. So he proposed the three super factors, that's extraversion, introversion, neuroticism and instability, psychotism, and then superego function. And then they with Hans, he believed that um these traits are biologically based. Are we together? And then we have the big five factor model. And that is openness to experience, conscientiousness, extraversion, agreeableness, neuroticism. And then the acronym for that is an ocean or maybe a canoe. Are we together? So and then we move on to the social cognitive theory. So with the social cognitive theory, one thing that you have to understand about this is it emphasizes the interaction between cognitive process, behavior, and environmental factors. So with this, behavior is shaped by what? The interaction between personal factors like thoughts and the environment. And then we call this reciprocal determinism. You get it? So with this reciprocal determinism, is like personal factors like beliefs, behavior, and environment, they all affect each other. You get it? And then we talk about self-efficacy. The self-efficacy is like they believe that someone has in himself that he can succeed in this particular what situation. And then high self-efficacy, like people with high self-efficacy is like they have greater motivation, like something keeps them motivated, like I can actually achieve this, I can actually do this. Are we together? And then we have this observational learning and modeling. So it's whereby like people learn by observing others and also the consequences that comes along with it. So people learn by watching others, especially when they see the consequences of those actions. Are we together? Yes. And then these things were this social cognitive theories was brought by Bandura. Yeah, Bandura. And then with Bandura, one thing that you have to take note of it. Bandura's theory was to show that we are not only shaped by our environment, but also we are shaped through our thoughts, choices, and learning from others. That is according to Bandura. Are we together? Yes. And then move on to some of the major theories of personality. That's the biological evolutionary. So with the biological evolutionary, so that it focuses on genetic predispositions, brain structures, and neurochemical processes that influence personality what traits. Are we together? So with this biological and then evolutionary theories, like the core focus is to explore how genetics, brain biology, and evolutionary factors influence our personality traits. You get it? So one of the key concepts you have to take note is what? The biological basis of personality. That is, personality itself is linked to the brain structures. Maybe so. Okay, personalities are linked to the brain structures and then the neurotransmitters and then hormonal what activity. As an example, like aggressiveness, anxiety, anger. You see, these things can actually be based from the family. Maybe it's like, oh, these people they have this anger issue from the very family and then everything. Okay, then we have the genetic influence. That's what you have to take note about the genetic influence, whereby he used the twin studies and then adoption study to assess heritability. You get it? So he used like he was using the identical twin. You see, identical twin they often show some similar personalities. You get it? Suggesting a strong what genetic what component. Are we together? And then we are having the evolutionary what perspective. So one thing about the evolutionary perspective, although you've talked about the biological aspect of it, but let's talk about the evolutionary aspect. So with the evolutionary aspect of it, it's like trait that increase survival and reproductive success. So these traits may have been naturally what selected over generations. You see, there are some traits that increase survival. You get it, maybe cooperation, risk taking. Are we together? Yes. So these biological and then evolutionary theories explain how personality as a result of nature rather than what just the it's like we are just focusing on the nature aspect of how things actually in the natural world affects our traits rather than we focusing on the nature aspect of it. Are we together? Yes. And then we talk about personality disorders in the workplace. So when we talk of personality disorders, it's like they are the enduring patterns of inner experiences and behavior that deviate markedly from expectation of the individual's culture and are pervasive and inflexible. So with this personality disorders, like you are trying to move out from the actual thing. So it's like you are deviating from the cultural norms. You get it? So they usually begin in the adolescence or early adulthood. About what we are talking about, these personality disorders. Are we together? Yes. So that is what about the personality. Like it's like there are some patterns that, or there are some experiences, or there are some long-term patterns of thinking and behaving that deviate from the cultural norms. Are we together? Yes. And then we have the general characteristics of what? Personality what? Disorder. Are we together? And then with these general characteristics, we are going to look at what? Pervasive. Pervasive. So with pervasive, like pervasive, they are the dysfunctional behavior that affects multiple areas of our life. Are we together? And then we are going to talk about the inflexible characteristics of personality disorder. So, with the inflexible, it's like individual struggles to adapt their behavior or thinking, even when it causes recurrent problems at work. Are we together? So, like individual struggles to adapt even when the behavior causes repeated problems. You know that the behavior that you are doing is actually causing repeated problems. So why don't you adapt? It's like they are inflexible, they are resistant to change. Are we together? And we have the distress and impairment. So we see sometimes when you are suffering from you are having some emotional suffering such as job loss and then damaged work or maybe damaged relationships. When I say damaged relationship, you get one type of strained relationship whereby a guy and then lady has left you and then you're experiencing broken hearts. You don't know your left and right. Do you know that at times it can really have an impact in the workplace? Maybe it can actually lead to like lack of productivity. You get it? And then there will be some slow collaboration within the team. Yeah, at times too, that's something that it can actually cause. And then we have the ego-cytonic characteristics. So this ego-cytonic is like the behavior often sees like the individual often sees their behavior as something normal, so they don't see the need for them to change it, or they don't see the need for them to change in some behavior. I don't know if you are getting my point. You see, at times when you find out that these things has become something normal to you and then someone proposes to you that it is something that you have to change from it, you don't see anything new in it or maybe something bad in it that you have to change. You get it? And these things will actually it become very difficult for you to be in a company or maybe organization setting. Are we together? You have the onset. So with the onset is like the patterns that usually begin in adolescence or adulthood. You get it? So meaning these patterns are often long standing by the time an individual enters the workshop. So there are some patterns that you develop whilst you were growing up. You get it? So and they can stand or they can still be with you until you enter the workforce. That then there is the need for it to be some changes. Are we together? So these personality disorders are deep rooted. The characteristics of them, they are deep rooted, long standing, that affect how individuals think. Remember that psychology, we are trying to find out how individuals will think, feel, and act, predicting behaviors, observe, analyze. Are we together? Yes. So that is what you have to what take note about it. Then we talk about the overview of what personality what disorders. So with the overview of some personality disorder, you have the paranoid personality disorder. Paranoid personality disorder. And then with this paranoid personality disorder, it's like there's a deep distrust and suspicion of others. Always, if you're always suspecting others, maybe you are trying to interpret others' motive. Why? And sometimes their behaviors is like constantly like they are always doubting others people motive. They always feel like someone is trying to harm them, deceive them, but they don't have any evidence for what they are trying to talk about. Are we together? So that is what we are trying to talk about, the paranoid personality disorder. You get it? So then we move on to the schizoid personality disorder. So with the schizoid personality disorder is the description about this is the pervasive pattern of detachment from what social relationship and restricted range of emotional expression. So with this personality disorder, it's like we call something the emotional detachment and social withdrawal. You are trying to withdraw yourself from close relationships. Are we together? You show no interest in it. Sometimes families are even part of it. Are we together? And then it prefers to some, like when you are preferred to be alone, like these people, they always prefer to be alone. They don't care about anyone and other things. You get it? So that's the schizoid personality disorder. But talking about the schizotypal personality type of order, is whereby the pervasive pattern of social and interpersonal defects marked by what? Acute discomfort. You get it? So it's like these people, like um they are discomfort in close relationship. Like they mostly believe in, like they are poor in social skills, even if they find themselves in what social relationships. Are we together? Yes. And then they might have some magical thinking and other things. We call this the schizotypal what personality disorder. Are we together? And then we move on to discuss about the antisocial personality disorder. So with this antisocial personality disorder, one thing that you have to take note about is like they always disregard the rights of others and social norms. Are we together? So it's the pervasive pattern of disregard for and violation of rights of others. Are we together? So like their behavior, they are often deceitful. These people, they are very, 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 very deceitful. That's one thing you have to take note about it. Yes, and they are manipulative. You get it? And also they show aggression, that kind of recklessness, and also irresponsibility. Yes, that's about the antisocial personality disorder that you have to know about it. And then these type of behaviors are mostly found in these our males. Yes, because especially linked to criminal behaviors. Yeah. And then we are having the borderline personality disorder. So with the borderline personality disorder, we call something DS is emotional what instability and the intense fear of abandonment. So it's like they are afraid, like that way of unstable of self-image, like they feel some chronic emptiness, intense anger, and this disassociation and things. You get it? Yes. So that is what you have to note about it. Are we together? And then you are moving to the histrionic personality disorder. So with this histrionic personality disorder, one thing that you have to note about it is we call this excessive emotionality and attention-seeking behavior. You see, those that we find ourselves in relationships whereby you don't mostly center your attention to your partner, how do your partner mostly react to it? You be like, oh, maybe if um your partner who is a lady, you are not trying to give your attention to your lady, and then your lady be like, oh, why are you giving me that attention? You are giving that attention. So these people, they are always seeking attention. You get it? That attention seeking kind of behavior, and they always feel uncomfortable if you are not giving them attention. So what do they use? At times they use flirting and then kind of romantic ways and talks to make sure that they get your attention. We get it. That's the histrionic what personality what disorder. And then they always, these people, they always think that they are the very people you have to give your attention to. They have no other person you have to give your attention to. You have to give your attention to them. You get it. And then move on to like the narcissistic personality disorder. And then with this, one thing you have to note about this is these people, they are looking for praise, like for you to praise them. They need for admiration. Always you have to admire them, and then you have to like praise them. And these people, they lack empathy. They don't care about you. It's always self-centered. Like they only care about themselves. They get it. So with this, like they always seek attention and then admiration, and also these people have a very strong sense of what entitlement. They feel like at times when you do some things for someone, sometimes the person feel entitled, like you feel like you're entitled to him or her. You get it? So these people having that strong sense of entitlement is what we call the narcissistic the narcissistic personality disorder. You get it? And always at times they are very very envious of others. Are we together? So one thing about these HPD and then NPD, that the histrionic personality disorder and the narcissistic personality disorder, both disorders involve a strong desire for attention. But histrionic is for attention what the individual seek for emotion, like they seek approval emotionally, and then the narcissistic seeks for admiration from a position or a perceived superiority. Are we together? Great. And then we talk about, so that's how I was thinking. I was saying that individuals with HPD seek attention and emotional connection through dramatic and often flirtatious or seductive behavior. So you see, those that I was talking about, they're always seeking attention. For them to get your attention, the only thing that they have to use flirting words, seductive behavior. These behaviors are just meant to what, to get your attention. You get it? And while these narcissistic personality disorder, they always seek admiration and validation of to support an inflated self-image. They don't care about you. They are always caring about themselves. Just admire them anytime. Oh, you have that. Oh, you have that. Every day is about them. Are we together? Yes. So we move on to discuss some of the overview of some personality disorders. So we have one of the called the avoidant personality disorder. Avoidant personality disorder. And then one thing about the avoidant personality disorder is like there's a fear of rejection. You see, when you are afraid that when you do this particular thing, this is what you are going to face. Eventually, it will be better for you to avoid it, especially those who are shy, because or maybe those who are afraid of judgment or criticism. When these people are afraid, when you tell this particular person to come and stand in front of the whole class to maybe talk to them, and then they have that fear that in case they make a mistake in their way, they are going to be criticized. They don't come. We term these people like they're having this avoidant personality disorder. Are we together? Yes. And then we have the dependent personality disorder. With this type of disorder, they are always depending on you. Like they have the fear of being alone. They don't want to be alone. And then when they are alone, they feel like they are incapable. Are we together? Yes. So it's like they feel helpless and then anxious when they are facing some kind of independence. You get it? So while the avoidant personality is driven by fear of judgment, dependent personality is driven by fear of abandonment. That's what you have to take note. Are we together? So I'll end here for today's discussion, and then we are going to continue in the next video. Thank you very much. This is Grade 8 Tutor. Don't forget to subscribe and like as well. Send it to a friend for your friend to get a better understanding of this course. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.